Hello, welcome to my Saturday chat. Yes, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and now normally I do a Sunday chat, as you know, but I've actually switched things round a bit. You'd normally would get a video here where I'm out and about or doing something at home or whatever on a Saturday. But because Halloween is coming tomorrow on the 31st of October 2021, I thought it would be appropriate to, instead of doing a Sunday chat on then, is to release my Halloween special, if you can call it that, a video that's dedicated to the stories of Philip Mercer. Now, I know a number of people quite like those, and I've picked one which I hope will be suitable. So that will come out tomorrow on Sunday, and today is my Sunday chat, but on Saturday. So it's Saturday the 30th of October 2021. Now, first of all, I need to make a big announcement. I've tried to put it up, well, I have put it up on the Facebook group, the walking group that the Bald Explorer has, and that is anybody coming to our walk on Ditchling Common. The announcement is, unfortunately, due to, yes, I know, inclement weather, winds and wet, it's cancelled. I'm sorry about that. We tried it a month or so ago and we had to cancel it because of bad weather, and we've had to cancel it again, and it's a real pain. So I'm not quite sure what we're going to do at the moment because we're coming into the winter. We may well postpone all future walks until the spring because we just can't, you can't predict what the weather is going to do on the day. It's a 3-mile walk. It is on Ditchling Common, which I think is quite clay. We've had a lot of rain recently. The sun did pop out a little bit on Friday, but to be honest with you, it's going to be wet. We would like to have planned about 1.5 miles in to have sat down and had a picnic, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be raining, so it's just going to be unpleasant. And while I know that there are some very keen walkers who don't care what the weather is doing, there'll be plenty who just want an enjoyable social, of which the walking really is only a part. So we figured it would probably be best to cancel it. Also, there's more likely of accidents if somebody slips up on the mud and then we have to get an ambulance in, and all those things that on an organised walk you have to think about. Very different if it was just you and I going on a stroll. We would decide whether we're going to do it or not, and we would be able to look out for each other. But when you've got between 15 and 20 people on an organised walk, and you've got 30-mile-an-hour winds, you've got rain, you've got slippery ground, yeah, it's a bit of a no-no, really. So I'm sorry about that, but it is cancelled. So there we go. Now, as usual, I've got a number of bits and bobs on my piece of paper here in front of me, and we've talked about I was going to say the murder show, but it's a Halloween show for tomorrow, so we've got that sorted out. Now, I wanted to thank, talking of murder, where I saw the word murder that pinged into my head, I just wanted to thank everybody for their suggestions of murder stories in Sussex. As a result of me going to the lime kilns, looking at the book that I did earlier this week, The South Downs Murder by John Bude. And it was a fantastic book, and a number of you, I gather, have gone out and purchased the book. I'd be interested in what you think about it. I mean, it's a funny old yarn. It is a bit old-fashioned. That's what I liked, really, with the Hillman minx and the Inspector Meredith, I think he is, or Superintendent, I think he is, at Lewes Station. And I understand that there's a number of books in which he is the hero and he solves the various problems that he comes across. So I must look out some more of those. But you guys were very kind in the comments, and I appreciate that, sending me ideas of Sussex-based murder stories that are sort of in the period, you know what I mean, that aren't sort of modern day ones. Much more fun when there are no mobile phones and too many CCTVs to or even DNA stuff, techniques, to rely on the good old-fashioned murder story. Anyway, if again, I was going to say, if you do know of any particular stories in which it's got some locations which are marked in the book, do let me know, and I can go and have a read of the book. I do enjoy the odd murder story, and if there's some great locations to go and explore and have a look where it is set, then that would be great. But thanks for the comments on that, I wanted to say. I'm working still on the history idea. Now, you'll know that I made several videos on this, and I'm very keen to try and find a way to and make interesting the story of our history in England, part of my quest for England. Now, I noticed that Dr. David Starkey has started up his own YouTube channel looking at the history of England. Maybe he watched one of my episodes and thought, you know what, this is what I should be doing. Probably not, actually. And I'm trying to work out now. I'm a novice when it comes to history. I'm not a professor or a teacher or a scholar or anything like that. I enjoy it as much as the next person, but I've got huge holes in my history of what goes on, as you're no doubt aware, and I continually make mistakes. And for me, as I've said before, I find the best way of learning is to absorb something and then try and spit it out, because it makes the brain think about what you've just absorbed. And I thought the videos would be a perfect place for it. But we did the 1066, and of course there's so much one could have said that didn't. And I'm still working on it. So I don't want you to think that, oh, it's come up with another idea and then not following it through. I do want to work on a way that makes it interesting to watch. I'm never really convinced that I can be very interesting to watch. I always rely on the landscape, the heritage and the nature to tell the thing, and I'm just the sort of anchor that links it together. I never think of me as being particularly interesting, but if I can work out a way of doing it, I will. I would like to trace that, because I think it gives me a project, particularly during the winter months and things. However, the winter months I do not want to find is me finding an excuse not to get out in my van. I know that diesel prices have come up, and I know that we've got some inclement weather in there, and it's pretty cold, and my van, as people have pointed out, is not insulated. I know that. But I have been thinking about this, and in my Naked Englishman podcast that I do on a daily basis at nakedenglishman.co.uk, where I often talk about my behind-the-life scenes of a YouTube creator, I was thinking about this. I was thought, if looking at a week ahead at any one week and thinking, look, there's 3 consecutive days where the weather is not atrocious, I should just get in the van and go, even if I just take a simple camera like a GoPro or an all-weather simple vlogging camera, not necessarily one of my DSLRs, and just go and make something, even if it is a bit rough round the edges, and go to some interesting places, whether I go west or east or a little bit further north, camp out in the van, and possibly do perhaps 1 or 2 nights in an Airbnb if I can get them at last minute. Then I thought, then I might try and do that. I don't want the winter to thwart me. It's a word I've been using quite a bit recently, thwart. I don't want to be thwarted by the inclement weather. I want to go and, despite that, still go and make some content and keep you entertained as much as I can with my adventures. So watch this space. That is the plan. Despite, it'd be nice that you're tucked up in the warm with your tablet or your phone or your PC or laptop, watching this idiot shivering his nuts off, if I can be so rude, out and about somewhere, trying to explore this wonderful country, England, discover its Englishness within the heritage, landscape and nature. I think I covered all the bases in that, didn't I? So kind of be on ad hoc. And what I really don't want to do now is just keep making promises and then find that for one reason or another they don't happen. It's far better to just go and surprise you, I think. So that's watch out for that, he says, promising that something's going to happen. The Buck Barn video, or the West Grinstead video, where I looked at those 3,500 houses, the boring old fields, as the Horsham District Council mentioned. That, I have to say, I'm very thrilled that that's been viewed a lot of times. People have found that engaging, and a lot of people have commented on it and have been on my side about the landscape, particularly round where I am in West Sussex, that has been marked for development, or has indeed been lost to development. And a lot of people thank you for Well, just showing your agreement, I suppose, on some of the points of view that I've had in terms of losing our very important farmland. And of course, I spoke about this in the last week's Sunday chat, and that it's disappearing under, of course, concrete bricks and tarmac and all of that will never go out. And I do think it's, I know I repeatedly say this, but I think that farmland really is, it's a landscape that should be earmarked never to be built on, because even though it's now and we may have a housing crisis or whatever, we don't know what's happening in the future. And to mess about with the landscape for people in 100 years' time, I think is a dreadful thing. In 100 years' time, in 50 years' time, 20 years' time, in 10 years' time, goodness sake, next year we may actually be realising that we're more reliant on the farmland. And once we've built on it, it's gone. It hasn't been built on for generation after generation after generation. And the minute you do that, you have lost it. And we would be absolutely stupid, mad, to build on that farmland that is ripe for growing stuff. We just don't know. I think it's just wrong that we build on it, because the future generations might depend on it. Now, I know that puts a problem for people who want to put houses in places. I understand that, but I don't think that's an insurmountable problem. There's many people have mentioned reasons why we might be in that situation, of course. But I'm very pleased that the video has gone down well, that the sentiment has gone down well, and it's very much, I think, a calling, as I mentioned before, that I should be looking at England and what is vanishing. And I have got this book called Vanishing England, and I think it's important. One of my tasks is to record for prosperity what is here before it is obliterated, because I think our children and our children's children will be fascinated to see, and disturbed to see, what we have done to this wonderful country. So I feel that when I'm out and about on my journeys looking at the landscape, it is also with an idea to record before it is taken away from us. And I don't know who's voted. I mean, as far as I know, I've never voted for a government to build on prime farmland. And people often say, but you voted for them, you've got what you've got. But I didn't see that in the manifesto myself. I spoke a few weeks ago about booking up a canal trip next year. And Julia and I talked about the Falkirk wheel of going up to Scotland. At the moment, nothing has been done on that front. I would like to get another canal trip in. We traditionally have done these in October. So this time last year we were away, but at the beginning of October. We would like to try and do that earlier in the year, but of course that's in the height of the season and it's more expensive. So it's still up in the air, really. I still have this crazy idea about buying a canal boat, living on it for a year, and then selling the canal boat, so that whatever you pay for the canal boat, you get back after a year. So it's only cost you the living costs of a year, effectively. But I understand that at the moment, because of staycations and because of the COVID situation that we've had, canal boat prices have gone sky high. So I think I won't be doing that anytime soon. Certainly don't want to lose any money on it, and the whole thing would be a very speculative project. But I quite like that sort of concept of doing something a little bit out of the ordinary and big, like disappearing for a year or for 6 months, doing something and then coming back and reporting every day. So I'm open to ideas on that. I'm just trying to find the right thing to do to elevate the channel, to make it appeal to more people. Certainly more of the van stuff I'm hoping will do that. So that's that. Another thing, sorry to say that this episode is full of I suppose a number of negative things being cancelled or postponed, or not really terribly positive news about anything. And one of the things that during the lockdown last year and the beginning of this year I did was something called Listen with Vobes. It was a channel I set up on YouTube. A very small number of people came along and interested in it. I was reading some out-of-print books about England, mostly travel logs, but we did do a couple of stories as well, set in England, set in I guess the 1900s, the 20s and 30s and 40s, that sort of time period. As part of my quest for what England was. To me, England was something just changed after the Second World War, not for the good, to be honest with you. Although, of course, I approve of all the technical improvements and the medical improvements, but I think there's something to be said about the management and mismanagement of the country, and indeed the cultural changes that, for me, no longer talk to me in the same way that I find them in old films, old books and stories and things. But anyway, going back to the Listen with Vobes, it was hoped that in the autumn that I would bring that back. But to be honest with you, I don't think that is going to come back, because it's a bit more now of a heavy commitment to be on a live stream between 4 and 5 that I was doing Monday to Friday. It means I would have to be here, and I couldn't take off and just disappear in the van and go and do some more exploring and stuff. So unless the government lock us down again, which I really hope they don't, I hope they learnt their lesson that they don't really work, these lockdowns, that's my personal opinion, then unless they do that, then I don't think it will be coming back. But if we are locked down and we can't go out, then certainly I shall be looking at things like that, if not that, to bring it back. So I'm sorry for those people who are very much looking forward to that. It's just that I need that freedom. If I can get out in my van and bring you some more of England rather than being stuck at home, then I desperately want to do that. Anyway, that's my Saturday chat, not my Sunday chat. That's silly. And tomorrow, it's Halloween. I wish you a happy Halloween. There is a video that will be coming. It's a story from good old Philip Mercer, who wrote these stories as a curate and published them in 1834, I think it is, in Tales of Old Sussex. And I will be rereading, if you like, or representing, because it's written in old language, and so I'll be interpreting it and telling you the story in tomorrow's video, so look out for that. Anyway, thank you for watching this. I hope you have a great day, and I'm sorry about the Bald Explorer walk not happening. That is a great disappointment to me and everybody else, but that's the way it is. Anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and bye for now. Bye-bye.